On various Sunday nights at Highland, we have been studying through the book of James. And in chapter 3, there is an incredibly practical and powerful section that has to do with how we talk to other people. When you think about the message of James overall, there's so much there that is so applicational to our lives, because in the beginning of the book, he talks about how trials can produce patience in our lives and should be faced prayerfully and confidently. Also in chapter 1, he talks about how life's trials are really not from God, but we should, however, be willing and able to learn from them. And in order to face trials, we must not become angry in the face of them, but instead learn to be responsive to God's message and to rely on Him even in the midst of our greatest difficulties. And the faithful response is therefore doing the Word of God, whatever is instructed in it, and not just hearing it and forgetting about it and going on about our lives. And so really the huge message of James is that faith is properly understood in our lives when it results in actions, and that our actions are a sign of true faith in God. And he's about to give us some practical examples of how that plays out. And one of the greatest challenges that we have is in controlling the tongue. I read some time back about a Native American woman. She was known for speaking careless words that hurt people, and the result was that her life was filled with broken relationships. And so one day, she became aware of what she'd been doing, and she was sorry for how she had treated other people. So she traveled a long way away in order to speak with a wise shaman about how she could correct all of these things that she had done in her life when she had spoken to people in a way that was hurtful. And when she got to him, he gave her a strange but simple job. He said, gather up all your chickens, kill the chickens, and pluck out all of their feathers. And as you travel back to me, scatter all the feathers along the pathway. And then we're going to talk again. So the woman thought it was an odd request, but she went and she did what she was asked to do. She went home. She scattered all the feathers on the way back, traveling to see the wise man. And when she got back to him, she said, I've done exactly what you've asked. And he said, go back along the path now and pick up every one of the feathers that you have dropped. And she said, that's impossible. The wind has carried them away. And the wise man said, exactly. Your words have been said. The damage has been done, and you cannot go and get them back. All you can do right now is to move forward with the words that you have and use them wisely. Words are incredibly powerful. We do not exist as a culture without words. We may live impersonal lives because we're constantly on our phones and we're texting each other and we're emailing each other. We're not talking as much face-to-face as previous generations were required to do, but whether we're texting them or saying them to someone face-to-face, our words are always very, very personal. And so we've heard words over the years that talk about that. The pen is mightier than the sword. You think about the great writings of great philosophers and authors over the years and how their words influence our lives, from Aristotle to Plato, Hemingway, Mark Twain, C.S. Lewis. Think of the power inherent in words like, I love you, or the words, I'm sorry. Think about the visuals that are created from the word lightning or the word lightning bug. Think of all of the biblical ideas that surround a simple word like Jesus, or how the word God informs everything that we could think about when it comes to the idea of the Bible. Think about the power of a word like grace. Proverbs 12 and verse 6 says, the words of the wicked lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright delivers them. Proverbs 29 and verse 20 says, do you see a man who is hasty in his words? There's more hope for a fool than for him. And so words have an incredible power to create and to bless. Think of God in the beginning of creation, in the beginning of the Bible. Genesis 1 verse 3, God said, let there be light, and there was light. God is the inventor of language and the giver of words. And so we think about words and their power. We think about the Bible. is the word of truth, 2 Timothy 2:15. That Jesus is referred to as the living word, John 1:1. And here in James, he upholds the word of God as the words that give life. And so we're often very careless with our words, and disciples of Jesus and readers of James must live in a very deliberate way as to use our words wisely. Let us meditate on this.
We gather here in Jesus' name. His love is burning in our hearts like living flame. For through the loving Son, the Father makes us one. Come take the